Good morning, children. Stay safely at home. So, I'm starting the next chapter, heat. So, first you have to know then what is it. I hope you know it already. What is heat? Heat is the internal energy of the molecules constituting the body. Alright? We know heat is a form of energy. So, which energy? The internal energy of the molecules constituting, if you cannot remember, present in the body also you can write. Heat is the internal energy of the molecules constituting the body. And we know that heat flows from a hot body to a cold body. Now today we will learn what are the effects of heat. If you give heat to a body, then what may happen? The first effect of heat is that on giving heat to a body, there may be a change in temperature of the body. So what is the first effect of heat? Change in temperature. When you are giving heat to a body, then what happened? Kinetic, because you already studied about different forms of energy. You know what is kinetic energy. Now, when heat is given to a body, then when the kinetic energy of the molecules increases, then temperature of the body increases. So, I have written it pointwise. On heating the body, kinetic energy of its molecules increases and hence its temperature increases. And when you cool down the body, means you are extracting heat from the body, then what happens? Kinetic energy of its molecule decreases, hence its temperature decreases. And amount of heat needed, this is extra information. Amount of heat needed is given by this formula M into C into T. What is the key Q? Heat needed. Alright, this is extra information. As I said, what is M? M is mass of the body. Then what is C? C is known as specific heat capacity. Okay. Now this is extra information, as I said. If you can remember, well and good. If you cannot, there is no problem. And what is T here? T is change in temperature. Alright, so when there is a change in temperature on giving the heat to a body, then how much heat is needed? It is given by this formula. Q is equal to M into C into T. Q is the heat needed. M is mass of the body, C is known as specific heat capacity, and T is known as change in temperature of the body. Then the next effect of heat is change in dimension. So when in this case you are giving heat to the body, then what is happening? The molecules present in it vibrate faster, and as a result what happens? The size of the body increases. So I have written it pointwise that on heating a body, its molecule vibrate faster, so its size increases. Then the third effect of it in details we have studied in the first chapter, that on heating the body, what happens? The body changes its state. We know that there are three states of a body, of a substance: solid, liquid and gas. Okay. In case of solid, intermolecular separation is least. In case of liquid, intermolecular separation is moderate, and in case of gas, intermolecular separation is maximum. So here lies the important point. When you are heating the body, temperature of the body remaining constant. Alright. So what is happening? The intermolecular separation increases. As a result, potential energy of the molecule increases and change in state occurs. So these are the first point already I have rubbed. So you must remember that when there is a change in temperature, which energy of the molecule changes? Kinetic energy of the molecule changes. But when there is change in state of the body, then which kind of energy of the molecule changes? Potential energy of the molecule increases, but you must remember here, temperature of the body remain constant and kinetic energy of molecule also remain constant. This is a very important concept, okay, and you are supposed to remember it lifelong if you continue in science, that whenever there is a change in temperature of a body, kinetic energy of the molecule changes, but whenever there is a change in state of the body, then potential energy of the molecule changes, but kinetic energy of the molecule remain constant. Okay, so these are the three effects of heat. Now the topic I will discuss that already in details we study in the first chapter. So I will not write every details on the whiteboard. I will discuss the topic once again as it is given in this chapter also. So you listen to the lecture, but the writing part you must copy the topic, whatever I will say, that in your study material copy from the first chapter lectures. Okay. Now, next is, we know that liquid can be converted into gaseous state by two ways. One process is known as boiling, another process is known as evaporation. So, what is boiling? The process by which liquid is converted into gas, okay, at constant temperature, under constant pressure, is known as boiling. Whereas the process by which liquid converted into gas slowly and gradually at any temperature is known as evaporation. Alright, so here for boiling the important part is it is constant temperature, and evaporation it takes place at any temperature. Now, during evaporation, what happens? There is, in case of boiling, you need to supply heat to the liquid. Then only boiling will take place. But evaporation, there is no need to supply heat to the system, alright, or to the body. If you do not supply heat, then what the body will do? Body will absorb the heat from the surrounding, alright, and it will be converted into, the liquid will be converted into gas. You know that to dry up what we do, the wet cloth, we just spread it in sun. So what is happening? You are not providing heat directly to the wet cloth. The wet cloth, what it is doing, it is absorbing the heat from the hot surrounding, alright, and then what is happening? The liquid present, the water present in the wet cloth, it is converted into gas, alright, and whenever evaporation takes place, as the body or the liquid, it absorbs heat from the surrounding, so it causes cooling. So what are the basic differences between boiling and evaporation? This point, the differences between boiling and evaporation, you must note down again in your study material copy in this chapter from the first chapter. First chapter I have discussed the point, the differences between boiling and evaporation. So again I am repeating the topic. What are the differences between boiling and evaporation? First point of difference is boiling takes place at constant temperature. Alright, liquid changes into gas at constant temperature. In case of evaporation, evaporation takes place at any temperature. So liquid changes into gas at any temperature for evaporation. Then second point of difference, boiling is a fast process. Okay, evaporation is a slow process. Third one, for boiling, heating effect, boiling never cause cooling. Okay, you can say, write that boiling never cause cooling, but evaporation causes cooling. In case of boiling, a source of heat is needed, but in case of evaporation, source of heat is not needed. The body or the liquid can absorb heat from the surroundings. Clear? Then boiling takes place from entire volume of the liquid, but evaporation takes place only from the upper surface of the liquid. So 5 points of differences verbally I have said. In the first lecture, in the first chapter lecture, I wrote it on the whiteboard. So what you will do, you will copy that one again in the first the heat chapter. I cannot remember what is the number of the chapter. Okay. Then next is the factors which affects the rate of evaporation, or factors on which rate of evaporation depends. First factor is rate of evaporation depends on the upper surface or the free surface. Greater the free surface, rate of evaporation is more. Then second point, rate of evaporation depends on the temperature of the liquid. If the temperature of the liquid is higher, rate of evaporation is more. Then third point, rate of evaporation depends on the temperature of the surroundings also. If the temperature of the surrounding is higher, rate of evaporation is more. Then fourth point on which the rate of evaporation depends is the humidity. Alright. If the air is humid, then rate of evaporation decreases. In dry air, rate of evaporation is more. Alright. So, and another point is there, that is nature of the liquid. Volatile liquids evaporate faster than the normal liquids. Okay. So, these are the factors on which rate of evaporation depends. Again, I am repeating girls, that these 2 points, that factors on which rate of evaporation depends and the differences between boiling and evaporation, you rewrite it from the first chapter from your study material copy. Now some applications of cooling effect of evaporation. Alright. The first, you know that during the summer season, we prefer to drink water from the earthen pot, or we keep water in earthen pot to cool down water. Why it is so? Earthen pots are having very fine pores, holes, okay, on its surface. Now through the pores, water seeps out, and when it gets exposed to the environment, then it evaporates due to the higher temperature of the surroundings, and when it evaporates, then it takes the heat from the earthen pot and thereby it cools down the earthen pot. So here I have written point-wise how to answer during the time of exam. So first point, earthen pots have multiple fine pores. So through, and second point, through fine pores water evaporates. Third point, water absorbs heat needed for the evaporation from the pot and its content. So as a result, the pot and water within the pot cool downs. Okay, the pot and water within the pot cools down. So this is the way point wise you must write down the answer. Then next one is, we know whenever you, here I have written tea, it may be a health drink. When mom provides you a hot health drink just before you are going out for school, then what you do, just to have the liquid, the health drink faster, you have to cool it down. So you just spread it on a saucer, isn't it? So when you are spreading it in saucer, what actually you are doing, you are increasing the area of the upper surface of the liquid, and you know when the area of the upper surface of the liquid increases, rate of evaporation increases, and when rate of evaporation increases, then the liquid evaporates and cools down also faster, because it needs the heat needed for evaporation from the rest of the liquid, and that's why the liquid becomes cold faster. So here I have written point wise how we will write down the answer in exam. That hot tea, when poured in a saucer, its area of free surface increases. So rate of evaporation increases. As a result, hot tea cools down faster. Now other two effects of evaporation, cooling effects of evaporation is that during summer you will see that when you are perspiration is high and you are sweating up profusely, and then you stand below the fan, that you prefer generally, no, after the games period, all of you just rush into the classroom, and all of you are ready to stand below the fan, which is not at all good for your health, we generally say. Now why? What is the cause? Because when you are sweating profusely, then sweat evaporates. Sweat means what? Nothing but the water coming out from your body, isn't it? From the pores present on the skin of your body. So when that water or the sweat evaporates, then it absorbs the heat needed for evaporation from your body, thereby it cools down your body. Alright, so I have written again the point wise, the important point. Okay, during summer when sweat evaporates, it absorbs heat needed for evaporation from the body. Then second point, so the body becomes cool, therefore perspiration in summer keeps the body cool. Then the last one, the last effect I am discussing here, not this is the last effect, that you know that when any person is suffering from high fever, then it is always advised to put a wet cloth on the forehead of the patient. Why it is done? Because the water present in the wet cloth, it will evaporate, and while evaporating it will absorb the heat needed for evaporation from the body, and thereby it will cool down the body, or it will lower the body temperature. Alright, so once again I have written point wise that when a wet piece of cloth kept on forehead of a patient suffering from high fever. Second point, water present on wet cloth evaporates, absorbing heat from the patient's body. Then as a result, the body temperature of the patient lowers. So these are few important applications of cooling effect of evaporation. Now next topic is thermal expansion. Alright. So what is the meaning of thermal expansion? From the term only you can make out. Thermal expansion means when heat is given to a body and it is causing expansion of the body. Expansion may be in the size, maybe in the area, or maybe in the volume of, in case of solid I am talking about. So what is thermal expansion? The expansion caused in a substance due to heating is called thermal expansion. Alright, so what is thermal expansion? The expansion caused in a substance due to heating is known as the thermal expansion. Now we will study after that thermal expansion in case of solid. So I have written it in short for solid. Now in case of solid, you know the solid may have length, may have area, or may have volume. So depending on the expansion in length, expansion in area, expansion in volume, there are three types of expansion in case of thermal expansion in solid. The expansions are known as linear expansion, superficial expansion, and cubical expansion. So one by one I am discussing. So first one is linear expansion. What is linear expansion? The change in length of the substance due to heating is known as linear expansion. Now, linear expansion depends. You will see that linear expansion, superficial expansion, cubical expansion, they are exactly same. Okay, their dependence on the factors are exactly same. Only in case of linear expansion, it is the change in length. In case of superficial expansion, it is the change in area. And in case of cubical expansion, it is the change in volume. Okay, but the dependence on the factors are same. So first one, Linear expansion depends on what? Initial length of the solid. Alright. Greater the initial length, greater is the linear expansion. What does it mean? Suppose you have taken, one girl has taken a rod of 1 meter. Both the material are same. Suppose one girl has taken a rod, copper rod of 1 meter. Another girl has taken copper rod of 2 meter. Then you heat the two substances by the same temperature. Then you will observe that 1 meter rod will expand less, whereas 2 meter rod will expand more. Okay, what does it mean? Greater the initial length of the solid, greater is the linear expansion. Then the second factor on which the thermal expansion depends is change in temperature. Alright, greater the change in temperature, greater will be the linear expansion. How you can understand this? Again, suppose two girls have taken two rods of 1 meter. Both the rods are 1 meter and suppose their initial temperature is 20 degree. Now one girl has increased the temperature of a rod by 40 degrees Celsius. Another girl has increased the temperature of a rod by 60 degrees Celsius. Then you will see for 40 degrees Celsius change in temperature, expansion will be less, whereas for 80 degrees Celsius change in temperature, the expansion will be more. So the linear expansion, it depends on change in temperature of the solid. How does it depend? That it depends this way: greater the change in temperature, greater is the linear expansion, and vice versa. Vice versa means if you decrease, the same thing will happen. Then the third factor on which linear expansion depends is nature of the material of the rod. Means instead of, I have given the last two example as copper. So instead of taking copper, suppose one girl has taken copper rod of 1 meter, another girl has taken iron rod of 1 meter. Alright, both the temperature, you are increasing the temperature by same amount, then you will see the expansion in copper and expansion in iron will be different. So linear expansion, it depends on the material of the rod. For different material, linear expansions are different. Okay. Now let us find out the mathematical relation. So here let us consider L1 be the initial length at 0 degrees Celsius and L2 be the final length at T degrees Celsius. Means when you have increased the temperature for 0 to T degrees Celsius, the length has become L2. So you see, what is the linear expansion? Linear expansion means change in length. So linear expansion is equal to how much you see? Final length minus initial length. Now, this L2 minus L1, it is directly proportional to L1. Then L2 minus L1 directly proportional to the change in temperature. How much is the change in temperature? You see, T minus 0, T. Okay, so if you combine these two, you can write that L2 minus L1 is directly proportional to L1 into T. So, when you are replacing this proportional sign by an equal sign, then you have to introduce a constant of proportionality. That constant of proportionality is alpha. So, you see L2 minus L1 is equal to alpha into L1 into T. Alright, here I am writing, this is what? This is alpha. Now, alpha is known as coefficient of linear expansion of the body. Alright, now you see, from this relation, what is alpha is coming? L2 minus L1 divided by L1 into T, means L2 minus L1 divided by L1 into T. Now, what is L2 minus L1? L2 minus L1 is change in length. Then divided by what is L1? Initial length. Then what is T? T is change in temperature. Alright. So this relation is very, very important and you must remember the relation for coefficient of linear expansion. So you see, once again I have written it in this way so that you can understand because it was very small there. So, what is the coefficient expression for coefficient of linear expansion? Change in length by initial length into change in temperature. Okay. So, you see what will be the SI unit of coefficient of linear expansion? What is the SI unit of length? Meter. Then what is the initial SI unit of initial length? Meter. Then what is the unit of temperature? You can write Kelvin or degree Celsius. So you see meter will get cancelled. So what is coming? SI unit of alpha. It is Kelvin is down denominator. So it will be K to the power -1 or degree Celsius to the power -1. So these are the SI unit. This is the, sorry, not R, this is the SI unit of alpha or coefficient of linear expansion per Kelvin or per degree Celsius.